at the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth. Carl Edwards has recaptured the lead, moving Brian Vickers back to second. Did it on lap 267.
Gets the position off turn 4, but couldn't make the pass, so he goes to the inside. Gets that great run down the front stretch, and going in turn 1, just drives alongside the 25 and into the lead.
So that was 3 laps ago, and here's Mom watching from the pit box on pit road.
Not a lot of emotion.
So Carl, after the win at Atlanta last Sunday, 87 points behind third in the championship standings. Alan, he looks pretty strong right now.
Yeah, a very good race car, Bill. You know, he lost a few spots on that last pit stop. Actually, the last couple of pit stops. The first time we heard and we showed you how Carl kind of took that one on his shoulders. This time they had a little bit of trouble on the pit stop. Crew chief Bob Osborne giving the crew a little pep talk on the radio just after the stop, saying, guys, we can get this done. Let's go do it. They're getting it done on the track. The last pit stop, though, will loom big for this race team based on the last couple.
And now Mark Martin trying to close in on Vickers for second.
And I would just think that AB's talking about the pit stop. I think these guys, they want to make green pit stops, because the faster this car is, they come in, they have that buffer on everybody else. So they want this thing to stay green real bad.
Points as they run right now. 61 laps to go.
Tony Stewart is doing exactly what he said in a pre-race show today. He just wants to beat all the rest of the guys trying to chase a NASCAR NEXTEL Cup. Only Carl Edwards and Mark Martin are beating him so far. Alan?
One word to describe what's going on with Tony Stewart, BP. Better. We heard from Greg Zipadelli a little while ago. They've gone back closer to the chassis settings they started the race with. Tony has moved up to 4th position in this run. Does he have enough laps left, and does he have enough cars to get the rest of those guys in the championship ahead of him?
And the question is, can Casey Mears make his car better here as we go along? Looking for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, Matt.
Bill, just like last week, as the race gets closing in on the final laps, Jimmy Johnson started to struggle last week, faded back to 16th. He is fading tonight because the car is loose in and tied up. Now, they pulled a spring rubber out in the last stop. He said it did absolutely nothing for me. Battle for second place, but he said it has made me worse off turn 2. He lost 28 points last week, losing more points again as Mark Martin dives on the inside of Vickers, who says his car is just way too tight on exit.
And that was pretty close coming off of 4.
I say 25 was pretty sideways getting off of 4 there, and he did a good job hanging on to that race car. But Mark has made a lot of ground. All of a sudden, it was like the 25 just lost a lot of ground.
And I'm sure that Brian Vickers in that 25 car is saying, what in the world are those guys at Roush doing to make those cars handle so well?
Well, Brian Vickers isn't the only guy in the garage saying
well, that's
that.
true.
So Mark Martin, 1.6 seconds now behind his teammate Carl Edwards. Matt?
Well, Bill, you were talking about the 25. Now, he just told Lance McGrew, we've got a good car, but it's just way too free on entry. And then when I want to get in the gas and start to put some wheel in it and turn, the car just starts to push up off the corner. He's having a good day. You asked about Casey Mears in the 41 car. His car is loose and just getting looser.
So the different cars are going to react differently as we go from daylight into darkness here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Up front, it's Carl Edwards. Has led 55 laps so far today. Won last week at Atlanta, trying to win today at Texas. Hey, after the race, except on the West Coast, it's a special Dateline NBC featuring Rusty Wallace. 89 Series champ talks about why he's retiring and a whole lot more. That's Dateline NBC coming up after the race on the East Coast and 7 o'clock out west. Rusty running in the 10th spot right now. Everybody chasing Carl Edwards. Let's go through the field. Starting with that 99 car, Alan.
Well, obviously, when you're leading, things are looking pretty good. Carl Edwards right now trying to fend off those behind him and maybe even pull away from those those who are trailing him. One more pit stop to go. They're already chatting about what adjustments they might want to make there, Dave.
Mark Martin said in final practice that he was feeling even better than Atlanta, and also that he was looking for something they had found in the test, and they hadn't quite found it yet this weekend. Asked Pat Trice this morning, he wouldn't tell me. He said they went back and forth a little bit. Not sure if they did find that certain something or not, Matt.
Now, Dave, Brian Vickers would love to join Ken Schrader and Jerry Nadeau's drivers who scored their first career wins in the 25 car for owner Rick Hendrick. The car still tight, especially from the center to exit of the corner. AB.
Tony Stewart has settled in fourth position ahead of all but two of those chasing him for the championship right now. Stewart's car lacking a little bit of rear end grip here as we work with 48 laps to go, Matt.
And Alan, it's like flipping a light switch. The 41 just seems to come to life. He doesn't fall off as much as some of the other cars. He was over a second back from the leaders now, just 5.16 seconds. The car not as free. Snyder?
Well, Matt Kenseth accomplished goal number 1. That was leading lap, and goal number 2. He's led the most laps. Now, goal number 3, it's going to be a little more difficult. Goal number 3 was to win the race tonight. Matt said the car is neutral, but since it's gotten dark and the track has gotten cooler, the other guys have a bunch of speed that we don't have all of a sudden. That was his report to the team. Denny Hamlin, 24-year-old Virginia native, doing a very nice job. His car was tied on the last run. They have now made it loose off the corners. Earlier, he told the guys, just stop talking. I'm trying to concentrate. Matt?
And Jimmy Johnson in the 48, running in the 8th position, trying to make up some ground on point leader Tony Stewart, who's up in the 4th position. Now they're going to try a little brake bias change in the 48 car until they make their final stop, which should be, Marty, somewhere around lap 300.
Well, Matt, Rusty Wallace is in 9th after he's gained a few positions coming off pit road, being in 12th. Rusty admonished the crew saying, you know what, guys, we keep losing spots on pit road. We've got to stop that. There's a battle for the lead, Bill.
Mark Martin has caught Carl Edwards.
Whoa, a little bit loose there for Mark. Off of 4.
So Michael Waltrip, oh, he got a spin off turn 4.
Caution is out.
Who is that, Biffle?
Looks like Biffle again, yeah.
What a day he's had. And Jimmy Johnson is caught on pit road.
Well, he came down pit road to avoid the accident.
Right. And he will get his position back because the field is frozen when the caution comes out.
I saw Michael Waltrip slow off turn 4 the lap before that, but he looks like he's up to speed now, Dave.
Michael reported back to his crew as they were trying to assess what was going wrong. Volts are good. A lot of things are good. Motor's bad. And then he got the report back. Yeah, Michael, sounds like we're blowing up. We're done here. So that was the last I heard before we started spinning on the front stretch.
No lucky dog because Greg Biffle, who brought out the caution, was the first car scored off the lead lap. So Biffle, who's worked all day to get the lucky dog, is unlucky again. See if we can see what happened here. Wow.
Just lost it. Just around he goes.
And that'll happen,
as we've seen. And Denny Hamlin, just his 5th race in the NEXTEL Cup Series. On the job training right here.
got on the apron. That's why he got loose. He got his left front tire
still there.
on the apron of the racetrack.
Right in the middle of the track. Just stop. Stop. Come high. Come high. Come on. Good job.
And that's what turned him sideways.
Nice job by Denny Hamlin there. Pit road is closed.
Well, they knocked all the cones down. The commitment cones.
It will not turn.
And okay, that will not turn. Now, sometimes what a driver will do.
That was Biffle, right?
Right.
Okay.
To help the car turn when it's not pushing is get down to the bottom of the racetrack and hook the apron, and that actually loosens the car up.
Do anything. Raise the track bar around, put another rubber in it. Put, bring the right rear up a half a pound.
So he's trying to use the track to help him.
He's trying to use the apron. Yeah, the apron will loosen your car up, but sometimes when you're running 165, 70 through the corner, it gets you a little bit too loose.
We leave here. We head for Phoenix. NASCAR Busch Series racing from Phoenix, presented by Walk the Line. That's Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on TNT, and we're back on NBC next Sunday afternoon.
Sound like Johnny Cash. Walk the line.
Yep, it's the new movie. Of course, our coverage on Sunday, 3 Eastern, begins with the Bank of America Countdown to Green right here on NBC. 43 laps to go. If it stays green, this is your last chance to make your car better. Lights are on here at the Texas Motor Speedway. They like to call it the Great American Speedway. About 190,000 fans here. And there has just been a great atmosphere here throughout the week here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Getting ready for this race. First time the fans in this area have had 2 Nextel Cup races in the same season.
We're burning up some film, aren't they?
Boy.
Taking pictures of all these cars as they're coming down pit road to make that final pit stop.
Race has been on a record pace. Carl Edwards trying to become the 5th Roush driver to win here. Let's go to pit road. Start with Dave.
And Mark Martin's pit crew has been on a record pace too as well, Bill. Twice today they've given him the lead off of pit road. They're going to make that wedge adjustment one more time to loosen up the car just a little bit more. Matt?
The biggest issue for Vickers is that you've got to fix my tight-on exit. Also, the light came on underneath the oil pressure gauge. They are concerned about that. We'll follow up more on that later. Snyder.
Matt Kent at the bottom of your screen, the 17 car said I'm a little loose off the corners, and he said they quarter round up on the wedge. Alan?
Wedge adjustment for Carl Edwards. Crew's chance to be a star. They've lost spots on the last couple of pit stops. How's this one's going to go? Oh, it's close.
Like Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart looks like the man.
Greg Zipadelli's guys get Stewart off of pit road. Let's take a look at the video.
Fantastic job. Just barely meets Mark, but he beats him.
Well, should be interesting. As it gets darker, it gets more exciting here at Texas.